I haven't talked to anybody in 3 weeks except my doctor. And I listened to you. I try to talk, and sometimes I talk too fast. So if I do, let me know. First, I didn't know about Graham Hedge, and I'm glad I heard it from you.
Yeah.
You mentioned that he was a good drummer. I would say that he was a very, very good drummer.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I love you.
There's a lot of drummers that really weren't given much credit, and I can't remember the one exactly named, but Grand Funk was a really good drummer. Brownsville Station,
yeah,
and Uriah Heep, drummer.
Oh, I don't
live at the lead. I wanted to address this 2+2.
It's Brewer, right? Wasn't Don Brewer the drummer for Grand Funk? Yeah.
Yes,
because he later he sang lead on a couple of those songs too.
He did, and it was a really, really rowdy crowd at Live at the Leeds and at the Fillmore West. But this guy they would go off stage and he would do 25-minute riffs.
Yeah.
And that were actually recorded, and they're just fantastic.
Well, I've never, just for the record, I've never judged a drummer on drum solos. Because, you know, I mean, those are fairly self-indulgent, and they became kind of a rock cliche. And, I mean, I like the work of Carl
Great
Tone.
one from, like, Buddy Guy or something.
Yeah, sure. I'll grant you that. Yeah.
I want to address this 2+2.
Sure.
I think in our reality right now, 2+2 equals 4. And I think in the past reality, 2+2 is equal to 4. But I lay open to perspective that perhaps in 300 years, 2+2 might have multiple, that equation might have multiple answers.
Well, let's leave that here for now, and it's a conversation we can continue on the phone at some other time. You sound a little better than the last time we spoke, so hang in there, buddy. We'll talk again soon. One more hour of open lines. Where are you going to take us? Coming up next, in for George Norrie, this is Ian Punnett.
I had 3 cousins pass away from COVID-19. One of them I was very close with. This guy taught me how to get on the line as a football player. What I think people risk, not getting that, whether it's death, whether it's their own life or the people that are around. Take it from me, the vaccine saves lives. Find a vaccine near you at myturn.ca.gov. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
If you're even thinking about renovating, you have to check out the Houzz website and app. That's Houzz. More than 65 million people are using Houzz because it's the best way to keep your project on budget. Why? When you hire a pro on Houzz, they can use Houzz tools to give you a detailed estimate and financial dashboard where you can see and approve any changes in real time. So for remodeling made easy, just go to Houzz. That's Houzz. And find a local pro to give you a great home and a great experience.
There's a movement rebelling against the extinction of our species. There's more of us than ever. In fact, there's too many people. Oh my God, the traffic I was in today, I was yelling extinction out my window. We could use a good extinction.
John and Ken, weekdays 2 to 6 on KFI.
What was that thing you told me today?
That there's enough fentanyl to kill every single American?
I just read that. It's on the break.
I suggest the right to take 1 nap per show.
I just blow a whistle and then I go off. Oh, you should hear the air suction that goes on usually during commercial break.
It's like all the room's oxygen disappears. John and Ken, weekdays 2 to 6 on KFI.
You know, one of the things I do if somebody says you want to go to a restaurant and I don't like the restaurant, I always say my grandfather died at that restaurant.
The problem is that when people start talking,
it's like Conway's grandfather died at the Smokehouse.
Smokehouse? I thought it was up at Arby's.
Exactly.
No, it's Smokehouse.
No, he told me Arby's. The Tim Conway Jr. Show, weeknights at 6 on KFI.
That's what I'm saying. He said dilettante. Dilettante's a good word. Now, I don't have to spell the fancy words I use.
John and Ken, weekdays 2 to 6 on KFI.
Phone, car radio, smart toaster, we don't care how you listen, just that you do.
KOSI
free iHeartRadio app.
Oil spill and supply chain. I'm Johnny D'Agostini in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Federal officials have named a party of interest related to the recent oil leak off the coast of Orange County. Coast Guard and NTSB officials boarded the motor vessel Beijing Thursday in the port of Long Beach. Investigators say the vessel was involved in a January 25th anchor dragging incident during a heavy weather event. It occurred in close proximity to a subsea pipeline, which was later discovered to be the source of the October oil spill. Governor Gavin Newsom is unveiling a series of big changes in Los Angeles designed to ease the supply chain gridlock at ports in Long Beach and L.A. One of those changes is for transport trucks.
Temporary permit to release 80,000-pound weight restrictions for trucks to 88,000.
Newsom talked about the over $40 billion California will receive from the recently passed infrastructure bill.
Those have flexibility.
While empty containers are starting to move out faster than before, there's still a nationwide truck driver shortage adding to the problem. State education leaders are announcing a series of measures intended to transform California schools. State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tony Thurman says his office will conduct a series of events with educators, administrators, and parents.
You'll hear about how we're going to provide preschool for every 4-year-old, the community school strategy, universal meals for any hungry student.
Thurman says our schools need to be more inclusive,
building an education system that's better than anything we've seen before, to close learning gaps, and to make sure that our students have access to counseling and support.
A listening tour will include virtual town hall events and other opportunities for parents to give feedback, not only on what was difficult during the pandemic.
We want to hear from you about what we can do to make the school experience better to you and your students and in your school community.
Southland weather from KFI, partly cloudy today. Low 60s at the beaches, high 60s in Metro LA, 70s in the valley, and high 70s in the Inland Empire. It's 51 degrees in Riverside, 56 in Orange, 52 degrees in Van Nuys. Really local from the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Johnny D'Agostini.
All lanes shut down in Huntington Beach on the northbound side of the 405, Beach Boulevard to Westminster Avenue. With Caltrans works here, they should be wrapping up in the next little while. We'll watch the subdelations go through the area there. Anaheim Hills, eastbound 91, Lakeview to Imperial Highway 4, right lane shut down for around 7 o'clock this morning. And in Montebello, the 60 east and west between Finley and Rosemead Boulevard, 2 left lanes shut down each direction until about 8 o'clock. Through Ontario on the eastbound side of the 60, Vineyard to Archibald. Caltrans wrapping up a project in the 3 left lanes. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. Button.
1-877 cars for kids. KARS cars for kids.
Donate your car today with 1-877 Cars for Kids. We're a recognized 501c3 charity organization, so you'll receive a maximum tax deduction. What's more, you'll receive a vacation voucher of 3 days and 2 nights. Also on the web at carsforkids.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
This Thanksgiving, Sit & Sleep wants to prevent you from buying a real turkey, the wrong mattress. So come to Sit & Sleep Black Friday sale and get fitted for just the right mattress with our bed match technology. Save 50% off select Sealy, Duress, and King sound, plus get $500 off Tempur-Pedic adjustable sets. And with your good credit, get interest-free financing for 36 months with your minimum monthly payment. So this year, make sure the only turkey you buy is the one you eat, not the wrong mattress during Sit & Sleep's Black Friday sale.
Avoid the gridlock of having to sort through hundreds of resumes to find great people. Indeed's hiring platform makes it easy to attract, screen, and interview candidates all in one place. To find your next great hire, visit Indeed.com/credit.
Marcus by Goldman Sachs offers personal loans with no fees, ever. Banks offer coffee. So, what's more important? A Marcus by Goldman Sachs loan with no fees that could help consolidate debt, or bank coffee. This tastes like bank coffee. You can money. Visit Marcus.com to learn more about saving, borrowing, and investing from Marcus by Goldman Sachs.
Investing involves risk and investments may lose value. Brokerage and investment advisory services by Goldman Sachs and Company, LLC. Member FINRA SIPC. Lending and deposits products provided by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC.
When Sandra doesn't talk to a Mattress Firm sleep expert, Junk Sleep presses the wrong buttons in her brain. And Sandra presses the wrong buttons in the elevator, leading to a dreadful journey for her and the accountant now headed up to 1242. 7, 8, 9. While Sandra avoids eye contact, let's reflect on how a better mattress would have led to real sleep. If you need real sleep, head to Mattress Firm and unjunk your sleep today.
I'm avoiding the chaos of Black Friday by having someone else do my shopping. So, Mom, here's my list.
And now, the top 5 reasons to visit Morongo. Number 5.
Feathers Sports Center. Just earn 500 points on your rewards card, and you're guaranteed to win up to $100 in cash or free slot play. Wednesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Number 4.
Game day giveaway. You can win a meal or even concert tickets when you watch football Sundays and Thursdays at Sideline Bar.
3.
Thanksgiving Essentials giveaway. Get a healthy air fryer when you earn 500 points on your rewards card, the 22nd or 23rd.
And the number 2.
We'll splash up to $100 in your table pot when any football team scores. Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays in the poker room.
And the number 1 reason.
Relax on Thanksgiving and leave the fun to us. To order your feast, call 866-234-7006.
Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Morongo. Good time.
Dive into the stock market with 21-year-old millionaire Hugh Henney and Dan, the deity of dips, on the podcast Pennies, Going In Raw. From volume and price targets to reverse flips, accumulation, and more. The serious business of trading strategies and financial freedom has never been more fun.
This is life advice. You need to build up your confidence, and it's the same thing with trading. For the first time, it's going to be a little ugly.
Listen to Pennies, Going In Raw on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Visit MechaniCars.com before you purchase your new automobile this holiday season.
KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk.
To talk to Ian Punnett, call the wildcard line at 818-501-4109. The first-time caller line is 818-501-4721. To talk toll-free from east of the Rockies, call 800-825-5033. From west of the Rockies toll-free, call 800-618-8255. This is Coast to Coast AM with Ian Punnett.
So we're heading into this last hour, and if you missed the first 2 hours, I want you to go back and catch the interview we had with Mark Leibson. He wrote a book about Staff Sergeant Barry Sadler, both his sad life up until when he had a monster hit with the tune Ballad of the Green Berets, but then also afterwards, how it was that he got away with murder. Only because of his popularity, and because he was very likely because he was a Green Beret. But I mean, all of the evidence just clearly he just cold-blooded murdered the guy. And then he himself becomes a victim of something. If you read the book, you'll know what I mean more about how suspicious this claim is that he was somehow the victim of a self-inflicted gunshot wound as a result of drunken gunplay. He was up to no good in Guatemala City. He was up to no good as a gun runner and as a mercenary. And I think anytime you're up to no good, you're usually not alone. And you're around other people who also are not up to any good. And that, I believe, would end up being the true story of how he ends up getting shot in that cab. But go find out more. The book you can link up to at coasttocoastam.com. Or if you're a Coast Insider, you can go back and listen to the show anytime you want. Not just that one, but any show. And that's kind of the cool thing about being a Coast Insider. You know, you can go through almost like you're keeping a baseball score during the week. You go, I want to listen to that show, and I got to listen to this show, and I can listen to that show. And they're all waiting for you, all these podcasted forms waiting for you at coasttocoastam.com. And I'll be waiting for you next for Open Lines at Coast to Coast. This is Ian Punnett.
Dealing with car repairs can feel like a lose-lose situation. You lose your money and your time, and if you don't have the right coverage, just one repair could bleed you dry. Ever since I called Car Shield, I'm not worried about expensive repairs anymore. Car Shield administrators handle the paperwork and expensive payments, so I don't have to. It's a win-win. Seriously, Car Shield could save you thousands. I get to pick my favorite mechanic to do the work, and Car Shield's administrators take care of the rest. It's like they're my own personal team of auto repair problem solvers. Plans from Car Shield even provide roadside assistance, rental coverage, and trip reimbursement, all at no additional charge. Whether your car has 5,000 miles or 150,000 miles, Car Shield has monthly coverage options to fit your budget. Get coverage today and see why Car Shield cars go farther. Visit carshield.com/Nori to save 10%. That's carshield.com/Nori. A deductible may apply.
Are you one of the 70 million Americans that have trouble sleeping? It's the lack of sleep impacting your quality of life. Sleep disorders like insomnia and sleep apnea can affect your health and may result in high blood pressure, lack of concentration, and even heart issues. Great news! Now there's a doctor-formulated sleep supplement to help deliver the ultimate peaceful sleep experience. Introducing Tranquil Z Sleep Gummies, loaded with organic, all-natural ingredients. Available without a prescription, now you can avoid that morning-after grogginess from other sleep products. Tranquil Z goes to work fast and is backed by a certificate of analysis to maintain the highest quality. So call now to find out how to get your free bottle of Tranquil Z while supplies last, or visit us at tranquilz.com. To get your free bottle of Tranquil Z, call 800-490-8180. That's 800-490-8180. Free bottles for limited time, so call now. 800-490-8180. That's 800-490-8180.
So for a bumper theme tonight, we were playing songs from the 60s earlier, and then I was playing alternative music from today that sounds like it could have been recorded in the 1960s. And that's what I love. Our last bumper kind of like that too. Pretty cool. All right, so open lines, and we'll start on the first-time caller line because, well, that's just the way we usually do it. Rico is in Bakersfield, California, on Coast to Coast. Rico?
How you doing, Steve?
That's great. Where are you going to take us?
Long-time listeners. Well, you mentioned Grand Funk Railroad, and everybody probably remembers the very first concert they went to when they were growing up, and that was the first concert I ever went to. Back in 70 or 71, they had just built the Anaheim Convention Center. It was brand new, and I had to really convince my parents to let me go. So we go to this concert, right? And, back then, marijuana and stuff was looked at completely differently,
Sure.
So we get to the concert, and people start crashing the door, and inside, it's just like being inside of an opium den, only it's
funny.
Right? I mean, it's everywhere. You come out of the concert, and there's cops everywhere. There's helicopters, there's cops on horses, they're in their shields and batons,
right.
Trying to get everybody out into the parking lot. It was on TV. It was really a big ordeal, and so here I talked my parents into let me go. And now all of a sudden they're watching on the news.
What do we say yes to?
But it was a great concert. Grand Funk Railroad was a great band.
Who opened for us?
I don't remember, Ian. I really don't remember.
Oh, see, now this would be interesting. Go back and find out who opened for him, because that frequently is the case when you actually see somebody. Like I saw Soundgarden open for Guns N' Roses. And I liked Soundgarden. They hadn't quite made it big yet. And I went back and I listened to Soundgarden later. I was like, dang it, I wish I paid more attention to the opener because I loved them.
You mentioned that the drummer for Grand Funk was like an exceptional drummer at the time.
Yeah. I had a very good feel.
The band, and everybody was in there getting high, and it was just a great concert,
Well, he wrote He wrote "We're an American Band," and that is still just one of those songs. It's one of the few songs from the 70s to me that I just never tire of hearing.
Same here. I love hearing that song. It takes me back.
Yeah. But it's just a well-constructed tune. It's really, Todd Rundgren was a great producer, and it's so funny to think Todd Rundgren produced that song. Todd Rundgren produced Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. I mean, he was not just a great performer, but then also a terrific producer for other people. So, and there's proof of that right there. Enjoyed that. All right, let me go to Kim in Carson City, Nevada on Coast to Coast. Kim?
Hey, Ian, it's good to speak with you. My name's actually Kim, as in...
I take your word for it.
You didn't believe I had to call you. I went to my storage unit tonight to drop off the Halloween decorations, and I found a little box with the LP that my dad had in 1972 of the Ballad of the Green Beret.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and playing on the old turntable back then. He was in Vietnam. He was a welder. But yeah, that story is sad. I didn't know anything about that sergeant. That's an incredible story.
He was kind of a messed up puppy, and I didn't get into it because I just didn't, it wasn't in the flow of the conversation. I hinted at it. It was really, there was a maturity issue that was going on, and I think he did finally kind of grow up a little bit, but he wasn't there when the song came out and he was making, gobs of money, and because he was, like, there's a lot of, I always think it's weird when people in the U.S. military get fixated on Hitler and the Third Reich. And he was one of those guys that when he was, I think he was, he may not have considered himself anti-Semitic, but I think he was fairly anti-Semitic. And the Mark made the point in the book about how Barry Sadler was interested in the Third Reich and Adolf Hitler because of the order, and the military aspect of it. And I don't think so. I think he was really into Hitler, like a lot of guys are today, even because they love the authority. They craved that kind of like absolute authority. And I think that was part of the story of his life. He needed an authority figure in his life to keep him on the straight and narrow. And when he didn't have it, he could never get back on the path on his own.
That's interesting. Hey, the other reason I had to call you, in another box, I spoke with you a couple of months ago, maybe. I found old cassettes with Coast to Coast recordings on them. I was on the Bering Sea crab fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from 1997 to 2000.
And your wife was sending them to you, or a girlfriend was sending them to you?
Yeah, right, and I know you're on one of those, so...
So strange.
I'm looking at the cassette right now, but I don't have a cassette player to play them. And get one.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's so interesting to me, and I'd be so curious. I love that thought, that here you were out on the Bering Sea with nothing else to do but to hear a tape of me on the show 20 years ago, whatever. And I find that I love the full circleness of that. So, yeah, let me know when you find a cassette player. There's a Goodwill resale shop somewhere near you that's got a cassette player in it. Or you might even find one online, and I would look forward to a future phone call when you tell me what it was that we were talking about that night. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. When we go east of the Rockies, Mike is in Shelby, North Carolina on Coast to Coast. Mike?
Yeah, I got a Walmart. They got cassette players. They're only $20.
Do they still? Do they? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
cool.
The good one, the kind they push the button.
The good ones. The ones you push the button.
Yeah, get rid of the interviewees like the self-proclaimed expert doctors. Push a button, they're gone.
That's so funny. I love that.
Well,
Good one.
I have a message, and I hope to share it. I hope it helps people.
Okay.
And it's really hard for me to talk about because it concerns my wife. I just lost her in September.
Oh, I'm so sorry. How many years together?
We were 23 years.
Oh, that's delightful.
But it would be 4 years to December 28th. She would have had her cerebral stroke.
Oh, God.
Now, cerebral strokes are the worst because only one did survive.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute.
No, take your time.
And I'm a vet. We've seen a few conflicts, seen a few firefights in my time.
Yep.
I have survival guilt. I have PTSD, but the guys and gals with Navy that are disabled because of injuries, I know vets that have no arms and no legs and are kicking ass to this day. Man, they're awesome.
Right.
They don't let anything phase them. They get out and just do what they want to do.
They're still on mission.
It goes back to the guy about your 2 plus 2.
Yeah.
Too indecisive on what he was saying. He was a lot like my wife. He chooses to be indecisive. It's not because he doesn't believe anything or does believe anything. He chooses to be skeptical about anything. He says, nothing is true, and I'm going to be skeptical and not believe anything. Don't be like that, people. Do not choose. I love my wife very much, but she chose pain and misery. I tried countless times to make her happy. She chose unhappiness. The stroke finished her, man. I love her with all my might, and she was a wonderful person. But please, please, people, don't be like my wife. Don't be like this guy. Don't choose misery. Leave yourselves open. Do what the Bible says. Do not totally believe what people say, but go out and find the truth for yourself.
Yeah.
Be happy. Choose happiness. Choose contentment. And choose to be open to change. You'll be a better rounded person and a lot happier.
And that is, no, don't go anywhere. That is the thrust of the wisdom literature in the Bible, which is, while it's true that, pain is real and misery happens, that you still have to find joy. And it's our obligation to find joy. And so have a good steak. Enjoy a good glass of wine. Don't have steak 3 times a day. Don't drink wine all day. But all things in moderation, look for those joys, and life will be a happier place. What do you think happened? What do you think happened to her as a child that made her be indecisive in that way?
She was very bitter. Her mother was very abusive. Her mother was very abusive in childhood. Her mother was an alcoholic. Is an alcoholic.
Right.
And beat her. She was the one that took care of all the kids while her mother went out drinking and carousing and losing jobs and all that. And her mother would come home and take it out on her. And she finally had enough and struck back and moved out, but I think the damage was done.
No doubt.
Because of her mother, she lost her dad when she was 9. She watched him die in front of her, had a massive heart attack. But, I can understand where she comes from. But the military teaches us, something happens, take that, put it in a box, and put it on a shelf until you're safe. Go back later, pull it down and grieve. Go back later, pull it down and be happy. Don't let it affect you right now. Because
it doesn't mean never process it. It just means process it later. You don't have to do everything in real time, but it must be done. And that's ultimately how we improve. That's how we find how we could have done better. Or when we're grieving the loss of somebody, a brother's in arms somewhere, it's appropriate to do that. But if you do it at that moment, then the whole mission could be lost.
Yeah, you lose it.
So she was an adult child of an alcoholic, and the reason why I'd asked what happened to her, because I always suspect that's kind of the first thing I always wonder about, is adult children of alcoholics' behavior is so pervasive, and it's so international that we sometimes think it had to have been like it was built into their personality since they were a child or whatever. And it's not. It is a kind of learned behavior, and it's a repetitive behavior because in some ways, adult children of alcoholics know who they are when they are unhappy. They don't know who they are if they're happy. It's a scary place to be happy because you're almost waiting for the other shoe to drop, where if you're unhappy, it can't hurt you. And very likely your stability is the thing that she cleaves to the most. The fact that you were consistent is what she needed the most.
Right. I have said this, and I truly believe it. God gave me my health at 63,
right,
so I could take care of her.
Yep.
And her mother, she's changed, thank goodness. She's not the same. She's sobered up, but she, she knows that she's got alcohol in any form. She's done. She says, I want to thank you so much for taking care of my daughter. I said, look, you don't have to thank me. I married your daughter because I loved her for a long time. I loved her when I married her, and I'll always love her. And I was put here for a reason. There's a reason I took a vow. Until death do us part, and sickness and health, and happiness and sadness. It's not the destination for me, but it's the journey.
Yeah. Well, and I this may seem too soon, but I talk to people in grief a lot, and I will say, you've got a lot of joy left in you to share with somebody else.
Oh, I
do.
Yes,
and when the time is right, then your wife will always still have that part of your heart, but you've got a lot to share. So I hope you find that joy and somebody else that can learn to love with you and live with you in the same way that you always hoped your wife had been happier, that you will find that happiness with somebody else. I appreciate you jumping in, brother. I think that is very instructive, and I think it's helpful for a lot of people. All right, so we've got Cornelius hanging on, but some others as well, including a couple people in Indiana, if they can stand by, because let's see, I get to. Let me do Cornelius here before the bottom of the hour because he's been waiting the longest, and then I'll get to everybody else. Cornelius?
Yeah, Ian, let me say something to Military Mike. That's what I'm going to call him. That was the greatest thing. I lost my dad last December. It'll be a year coming up, December the 13th. Korean War vet, tough as nails, was never sick. But that COVID-19 took him down.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what.
Yep.
But I'm so glad, Ian, you let us speak and stuff. And I'm glad you run people off like that guy James.
Hey, it was his own show. He was interviewing himself. He didn't need me anyway. I think he had to go to a commercial break in his own show.
Yeah, there you go, Ian. But Ian, I don't know if I told you this the last time, but I appreciate you defending me on what that other caller said. And also, I made a coast-to-coast connection. 40 years ago, I met a young lady at Louisiana Tech University.
Right.
And
how's that coming along? You had mentioned that before. How's it developing?
That's what I was going to tell you. And I want to thank Jeremiah for taking the call, too. He's a great call screener. Tommy's training everybody well. But my young friend, we're all 60 now, so I was born in 61. But it's just amazing what her life has been through and what mine. And I've been praying to hear from her. And that's the power of prayer.
Sure.
And one of her relatives asked, well, why ain't you contacted Cornelius White? You ain't talked to him in a long time. Well, he might be married, he might have kids, and I never did after what happened to me with the U.S. Bureau of Prisons. I'm not going to go into all of it.
But you're finding happiness again, and you in the power of prayer, you met her, where prayer leaves off, maybe a little Viagra can help. Whatever it is, there is still joy to be found, and I wish you peace in that pursuit. More open lines coming up next on Coast to Coast.
Okay.
And when it breaks,
I'm Johnny DiAugustini in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. We must acknowledge that the jury has spoken. That's according to President Biden after jurors in the Kyle Rittenhouse case acquitted the teen of all the charges against him. He was on trial for killing 2 men and injuring a third last year during social justice protests in Kenosha. The IRS says almost all the money seized by the service's Criminal Investigation Unit over the past fiscal year was cryptocurrency. The unit recovered $3.5 billion in crypto, about 93% of overall seizures. Stocks are mixed to end the week on Wall Street. Tech shares pushed higher as global COVID-19 worries weighed on broader markets. United, Delta, and Boeing all declined amid a pullback in airline and travel stocks. And the Tiger King is no longer in Texas. Joe Exotic has been transferred from a federal prison in Fort Worth to a federal medical center in North Carolina. The social media account run by his attorney claims he has been diagnosed with cancer. Really local from the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Johnny DiAugustini.
Problems in Irvine on the southbound side of the 5 at the 133. It's a crash that now has 4 right lanes shut down. The left lane open for you. You really jammed up at Jeffrey Road. All lanes shut down in Huntington Beach as well. Northbound side of the 405 Beach Boulevard to Westminster Avenue. This is late running Caltrans. Work should be wrapping up shortly. Watch for sudden delays as you approach the closure. And through Anaheim Hills, eastbound side of the 91, Lakeview to Imperial Highway. It's 4 right lanes cordoned off by Caltrans till around 7 o'clock. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Robert Zabucky.
Lung cancer is often found late, making it harder to treat. Memorial Care offers a low-dose CT scan to catch lung cancer early for those with a history of smoking. And the best part, it takes just a few minutes. Visit memorialcare.org/lung cancer to learn more.
Contractor license 1047-781. Ducking Goodrich taught Kenny to do things the right way, not the easy way. And now, every ghetto technician has a digital assistant named Duncan. Digital Duncan is a genius, just like his namesake. Back during the Cold War, the U.S. government came to my dad and said, "We need you to build a giant freezer at the test site and bring it down to 50 degrees below zero." They wanted to make sure their nuclear triggers would function if they had to send warheads to Russia during the wintertime. So Dad designed a cascade system that used weird gases like argon and CO2 instead of Freon. He and I got that system down to 50 degrees below zero in the Nevada desert in the summertime. When the U.S. government needs a genius solution, and when your ghetto technician needs a genius solution, they ask Digital Duncan. Sorry, 114 patents for cool stuff we've invented, and we believe number 115 is on the way. Yeah, we'll keep you cool, but it's hard to sell.
invert your system with a free upgrade to the i28 microinverter, the world's only microinverter that provides instant energy backup during a power outage from Semper Solaris, your local veteran-owned solar and battery storage contractor. Here's veteran, founder and owner, Kelly Shawhan.
In the military, when you give your word, it's just as your word. Work hard and keep your word. That's what we do every single day. Heard about Semper Solaris and found out that they were veterans. I knew they were going to do the job right.
Add Tesla Powerwall and be ready for blackouts. We get the job done with esprit de corps and honor. Semper Solaris offers new heating and air conditioning systems with a lifetime warranty and zero Go solar American style with Semper Solaris. Zero down, zero payments until 2023. Get the federal 26% solar and battery tax credit. Call 877-211-5591. That's 877-211-5591. Or visit SemperSolaris.com. IQ8 price the same as IQ7. 26% federal tax credit. From eligibility. Contingent tax advisor cannot be combined with any other offers. Some restrictions apply. New customers only. Call or see website for details. Expires 11/30/2021.
I heard the Federal Reserve may raise interest rates. Yes, in fact, mortgage rates have already started going up on the rumors. That's why we just refinanced